Well, that's not what we're looking for. Fuck me. Oh, well. I still got my... Can you hear me now? Okay. I still got my thumbnail in there at least. Didn't need sound for that one. I said this looks like a good thumbnail here, so I did a little pose for the camera. Well, that's pretty indicative of how today's gone so far. Jesus. Okay, well, thanks for letting me know. Sorry about that. I don't know how long, a couple minutes, I guess, wasted your time there, but I thought I even did a little mic check there. Everything was on. So, anyways, we'll move on. It's only a couple minutes. We're okay. Clean your machine. Good morning, Killer. Sorry, I did give you a little shout out there off the start, but you didn't hear it. So, anyways, welcome, Killer. First chat of the day. Let's see who will be the first zap of the day for Fat Zap Friday today. All right. Do we have enough sats here? Yes, we do. Okay. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. Can you tell I'm Canadian? Can you tell that I'm Canadian? Oh, I was listening to, I had to clear up some space here on uh, StreamYard here. And I was listening to an old episode because I was deleting it and see if there's anything worthwhile in there. And my sound now is like 100 times better than it was. Like it sounded like I was in a tunnel before for like a year and a half. With the same mic and everything. So anyways, we're back now. So here's the deal. We got Into the Orange. We got Spaceman over in the Zap stream. I got to share this to Noster. But I do want to start the day with a big, massive shout out to Into the Orange from Ken. He was the second ever iconic Zap. We got an iconic Zap from BitBilly a couple weeks ago. And the second iconic Zap of 88,888 sats was from our friend Into the Orange. So thank you for that. I didn't know where it's from yesterday during the show. So I just want to give you a big shout out today. Thank you. So let's see what else we got going on today here. We got Jason in the chat. Good morning, Jason. We got Ginger, Buck52, the usual suspects here this morning. Mark, good morning, Mark. Ian says, TFI Friday, friends. I think that's supposed to be TGI. But we'll go with TFI. Jor and Arnie, sunny day in Cambridge, busy day at the cafe, earning extra fiat for cheap sats. Happy stacking friends, they won't be cheap for long. Yes, correct. That is, I gave a bit of a spiel at the start of the show today, but you didn't hear it. But I said, Bitcoin is so simple yet so complex, and you don't need much, but you definitely need some. So that's going to be the theme today. I got a couple different topics that I want to discuss, a couple different news pieces, and then kind of the general overall theme for everything today. Lapad says, good morning, Fad Zappers. And we got BitBilly here. We got both of our iconic Zappers in the house this morning. Good morning, everyone. Fad Zap Friday. Let's go. And we got Rick. Good morning. Added a profile pic so Jor doesn't confuse me for a bot. Well, Rick, I know you're not a bot. But yeah, that's good practice. I mean, if you, I'm pretty good at sniffing out bots. I'm the bot sniffer of Jerry Loves Freedom's chat most nights. So, yeah, I knew you weren't a bot, but it's good practice on YouTube to have there's a green light to have a profile picture. No sound. All right, thanks everybody. Bitcoin is decoupling. Is it? Hey, look at this. We got our first zap of the day. Killer was the first comment. And our first zap has just showed up from our good friend Duncan over in the zap stream. Thank you, Duncan. Oh. There we go. Our second zap showed up, and it is a fatty today. Wow. Letha joins the icons. Letha was we've been calling her Letha Legendary for a while, but she is officially Letha Iconic with a fat zap to start the day today. Said I'm gonna miss the live. Happy Fat Zap Friday, Letha. Orange heart. Letha, do I have to change the time of the show here? I feel like you've been busy during this time in the last little while. I'd consider it. Letha's been one of, if not the, there's a couple I can think of. Daniel stands out to me because he was the first ever person to sign up for the Patreon, which is a pretty big deal. He was the first person to believe in the living in the future, and look what it's turned into since then. But Letha has also been around for a very long time, and Duncan. A lot of people here have been for a long time. But anyways, another iconic zap today. 88,888 sats. Thank you, Letha. Oh, you made my day. I've had a tough morning here today. Let me show you why quickly before we go any further here. Let me show you why. Some of you may have seen this already on Noster, because I was pretty concerned. The whole house was concerned this morning about our guy Lucky, the cat that showed up about 6 months ago now. And so he decided he's been living in the garage for the last 6 months through the winter. He basically showed up in the fall, and we put him in the garage because it was like minus 40 here. So anyways, a couple nights ago, he was just scratching and meowing and trying to get out of the garage. So I let him out, and he, I guess he just wanted to be outside. And so he spent 2 nights outside by himself. And this was the aftermath of the second night of him being on his own. Absolutely covered head to toe. Every orifice, is that what you call it? Orifice of him was covered in mud and water. Not a very happy guy today. I don't know what the hell happened. I have no idea. I was pretty stunned to see him. He wasn't even trying to clean himself either. And his paw, you can see, is kind of didn't want to put any pressure on his right paw there. So I think that he was either in a fight or he was getting chased or something happened, but he was fully immersed in some sort of water or puddle, and he's pretty shook up. So I spent about an hour this morning wetting him, wiping him, drying him, repeating, and he's doing a little bit better now, but I don't know. It's kind of worrisome. So we'll see. We got to take Arnie to the vet today. So we either might bring Lucky or might just ask to see if there's anything that we can do. So that's been my morning today. You never know what the hell's going to happen out here. It's the wild, wild west. The wild, wild west. Jor's infected by Agent Smith because I was muted. Is that what we mean? Matt, good morning. Jay, Duncan, Bird Meta. Morning, everybody. Great to see you all here today. And we got Jay. Joe Poutine. What a crew. What a crew. Yeah, poor Lucky this morning. Jay must have saw it before the stream today. Poor guy. Something shook him up pretty bad. Don't know what. Don't know. Probably will never know. But anyways. Buck 52 says you got fired on your day off for stealing boxes. Friday. What the hell does that mean? Tom, good morning. Good show with Bodie. Yeah, it was a good show yesterday. Eh? We had some good discussions. If you guys aren't yet, that's going to be my little ask of you today, because Bodie's been showing up. Bodie's been showing up every Thursday to do his show, and in my opinion, bringing a lot of value to anybody who wants to listen. So it's such a great show for people who aren't, into the weeds in Bitcoin yet. They're just trying to get a basic understanding of Bitcoin. Bitcoin Generations, consider checking out some of these episodes. You don't have to, we do them live every Thursday, but you can go back and listen to them all. There's a bunch of lives on there. Probably 15, all really good episodes in my opinion. So make sure you go over there, Bitcoin Generations. I'll put the link in the chat here. Yeah, support Bodhi. He's doing great work. He wants to help people, and I want to help people who want to help people. So go over there, check out Bitcoin Generations. You can watch some of the shows. You can subscribe if you want to, and show some love to our guy, Bodhi. Thank you. And he hit 100 subscribers. He's at 114 now. So he's trending. Randy, good morning. Albin, good to see you. And our good friend, Rick Costa. Good morning, Rick. Smash the like yet? That's a good question. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Fractal Chris. I don't think that this is Fractal Chris. Good morning, everyone. Barry says good morning. Okay. This is definitely not Fractal Chris. Jerry and George said I had TDS and that's why they don't want to do the show with me anymore. Man, these bots are pretty they're pretty advanced. That's for sure. It's kind of scary, honestly. If you didn't know any better, you could definitely fall for a lot of this stuff. Bunny, good morning. Gold moving up, biddy in tow. Slingshot engaged. That's right. Like our good friend Ricky Bobby says, slingshot engaged. That is true, though. Most of the recently, anyways, gold has always moved first, and then Bitcoin usually follows that. And Laughpad says, "Oh my God, that's precious. Changing the live time for Letha." I don't know if she heard that, but hopefully she did. Anyways, yeah. What a zap to start the show today. Amazing. Into the Orange says, subscribe to Bodhi's channel. Right on. Love that. Oh, gotcha, Ian. This makes more sense. Thank fuck it's Friday. It's good stuff. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, we got to look after Lucky. That's why he's here. He needs some help in life, and hopefully one day, this is my goal, this is my dream, but one day we'll have a full shelter where we can just take in as many dogs and cats and anything else that needs a home. But I say that for dogs because we have our rescue dog fund. But I think that there's going to be somebody out there, and I don't know who it is or if they even know it yet. But Bitcoin's going to make such a difference in somebody's life. And when I say that, I mean like homeless people. I think that there's going to be at least one Bitcoiner, probably numerous Bitcoiners, who use some of their wealth for that reason, to build a massive homeless shelter, just kind of in the transition stage anyways. As we move further and further down the line into a Bitcoin standard, there won't be that kind of problem anymore. Honestly, there won't be. There's no reason why anybody should be without a house, without a roof over their head, without a meal in their stomach. There's no reason for that. We have way more than enough resources on this planet where nobody should be outside on the street. No person, no animal, nobody should go hungry. We have more than enough. But the problem is that the people at the top, the people who want to control things, they can't allow that. They need people at the bottom to be fighting with each other and arguing and just like wasting time over the stupidest things instead of all working together. Could you imagine? Just think about the flow. Think about how energy flows. Think about how everything flows. When people are fighting and people are divided and people are distracted, nothing gets done. But when you have everything working together, when everybody's moving together in with the same kind of purpose and goal and intentions, could you just imagine a world like that? And it's coming. That's the beautiful thing about it. And everybody's going to get to benefit from it, not just Bitcoiners. Bitcoiners are going to be the ones who push it forward, who help us get it there faster, but everybody's going to benefit from being on a Bitcoin standard. So I think that, between the animals, that's going to be a big one, but also I think that there's going to be a lot of help to people in need from Bitcoin. I really believe that. Santino, happy Friday. Oh, Zappa Coffee is not up. What does that mean? It's down? Well, it seems to be working for me. I don't know. I'll throw it in the chat here and see if you can try that link. Zapjora Coffee. A couple more housekeeping items here. I would say, number one, if you've tried to get a hold of me in the last week or so, I don't know how long it's been down, but apparently my Jor at bitcoincitadel.net email is not working right now. It's either full, I can't access it, I have no idea what's going on. But if you've tried sending an email to Jor at bitcoincitadel.net and I didn't respond, it's because I didn't get it. So in the meantime, we can, here, let me add this. There it is. You can use this email. If you need to get in touch with me for anything, you can shoot me an email at 88sats, my original email there at proton.me. So I'll be working to fix that. But in the meantime, just use this 88sats email. So sorry for anybody who reached out and I didn't get back to you. My email has been not working. Let's go, Bodhi. What was Bodhi doing? What's Bodhi up to? Love that show. What are we talking about? Oh, are we talking about Talladega Nights or a different one? Missed it. No, it's got to be that one. Anyways, let's keep her moving here. Who do you recommend using an ETF? Like which ETF provider or who in terms of people? Randy, I don't know if you're still here or not, but let me know. Are you talking about like ETF providers or are you talking about people who should own an ETF? Oh, you guys must be talking about something else. I must have missed it. Sorry. Randy says bit of or before transitioning to possession of Bitcoin. Of or before transitioning to possession of Bitcoin. I don't know. I would usually accuse Randy of being a bot here, but I know Randy's not a bot. People who should own an ETF. Gotcha. Yeah, I would say that honestly, I would avoid it as much as you can. I would say that your hierarchy of Bitcoin, like the order in which you should be trying to own Bitcoin, number one, obviously, is going to be self-custody. That's what you want to get to. That eliminates your third-party risk. That gives you the sovereignty. That allows you to transact privately. That means that you can store it without any sort of risk to somebody taking it from you. So Bitcoin and cold storage and self-custody is where you want to get to. But it takes time. And you can't shortcut that time either. It takes a lot of investment of time or money for somebody to help you with it. But you have to make sure that you have your security in place and you know what you're doing before you take self-custody of your Bitcoin. And I think that that's one of the biggest misconceptions in Bitcoin is the catchphrase, not your keys, not your coins. I've seen way more people lose their Bitcoin because they bought it and tried to take self-custody of it before they were ready to. So that's where you want to get to, but I don't recommend people doing that right off the hop. I think that that's a very poor decision. And I've seen it. I've seen some people, some of my friends, some of the people I've helped, some people who weren't ready to self-custody Bitcoin yet lost it because of that. So that's number one. Number two, I would say holding Bitcoin, but on an exchange. So going back to self-custody quickly, that could be either an Aqua wallet on your phone, which is decent, or a cold card, like a hardware device, which you can actually air gap, which is better. And then a multi-sig where you need two devices to move any Bitcoin, which adds another layer of security. And then super backed, which is encrypting all of your recovery phrases and hiding your devices. So there's kind of stages in that, but that's self-custody itself. So you can start with an Aqua wallet or a wallet on your phone or a Sparrow wallet on your desktop, your laptop. It's better than having it on an exchange. I think it's, you're not at the risk of the exchange going down or them freezing your account or something, but there are still problems with holding your Bitcoin in a hot wallet, which is connected to the internet, which would be an Aqua wallet, which would be a Sparrow software wallet. So there's kind of stages of that, but that's where you want to get to. And you gradually go through that as well, from hot wallet to cold wallet to multi-sig to encryption to no trace of Bitcoin in your house. That's the stages of that. But for everybody else who isn't quite there yet, I still think it's much better to leave your Bitcoin on an exchange than to buy an ETF. And in Canada here, I would recommend using ShakePay for that. And in the US, I would recommend using River for that. So you can buy Bitcoin, you can send them money, you can send them dollars to the exchange, and you can buy Bitcoin, swap it into Bitcoin, and then you can just hold it on the exchange for a little while. Again, I know most Bitcoiners don't advise that, but it's much safer on an exchange than you trying to do things too quickly and potentially losing the keys to it, getting hacked, whatever that may be. And then the kind of last thing, and this is only for money that's stuck in the system, that's where you should be looking at an ETF. And for the money that's stuck in the system, I would say two things. If you have a longer time horizon here, if you don't need it within the next couple of years, I would strongly suggest putting that into strategy over an ETF. But if you have a shorter time frame and you don't want the massive volatility that strategy has in it, then you could go to an ETF like Fidelity, like iBit. I would lean towards Fidelity, honestly. They're preferred. They hold their own Bitcoin. They've been around Bitcoin for a very long time. You're not giving more power to BlackRock. So that's kind of the, whatever you would call it there, the hierarchy of where you should be storing your Bitcoin. But both the ETF and holding Bitcoin on an exchange, even though it's a little bit more risky because you have the risk of somebody else freezing your account or something happening to it, exchange going down, whatever it is. You have that risk, but I'd say it's very small compared to the chances of you screwing something up and losing your Bitcoin. So that's what I'd say. If you're brand new to Bitcoin and you just want some price exposure to it, that's fine. But you should be taking actionable steps to learn security or get somebody to help you with your security and take it into self-custody. That's kind of what I would say. I hope that makes sense. We got a couple zaps here. We got a couple coffees right on. Our daily, what was it? Daily coffee average. I think that was from LaughPad, the DCA, daily coffee average. And this is maybe how we're going to start gauging the price of Bitcoin. So yesterday somebody zapped a coffee and it was 3,771 sats. Today, that same coffee worth $3 is 3,616 sats. So to me, that would suggest that the price of Bitcoin has gone up from yesterday because we're getting less sats for our dollars here. And that's, I don't know why I said to me, that's what happens here. Oh, we are up today. Look at that. Didn't even look at the price today. 82K. So that's the Coles notes of Bitcoin custody. Who should be owning it? Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So anyways, thank you to LaughPad. And we also got another one, and I'm thinking this is from Clean Your Machine for 3,618 sats. So thanks, fellas. Thanks for the daily coffee average instead of the, no, it's not daily. What does DCA stand for? Dollar cost. My God. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna call this DCA the daily coffee average. That's going to be our new metric for the price of Bitcoin. How does that sound? How does that sound to you? Building teams is the key to leveraged income. That's true. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying there is when you have a team and everybody's working together, it is much more powerful. It's night and day. Andrew says homeless also includes mental illness. A lot of people need help with mental illness. Yep. But you also have to dig a little bit deeper into that and say, why are people mentally ill? Why are people mentally ill? Well, because when you get into that state, I don't know if it's a depression or not, but you look to other things. And the fiat world, this is just my interpretation of it. And this could be, you might disagree with this, but the fiat system incentivizes the cheapest ingredients and inputs. So whether we're talking about food, drink, or food and drink, whether we're talking about products that people use, whether we're talking about anything, medicine, drugs, even. Sounds crazy, but fiat actually makes drugs worse, right? Because if you think about it, and this is stupid, but it's the truth, right? When the dollar dies, you need to find ways to make your product, whatever that product is, you need to find ways to make that product cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Because when everybody's struggling, like, nobody's going to tell you this, but we're absolutely in a recession or a depression, whatever you want to call it. But we are in very dire economic conditions right now. I know the news won't tell you that, but it's the absolute truth. And so when you get into that type of an economy, you have to find the cheapest possible ingredients for everything. For any product, you have to find the cheapest ingredients for food, for products, for drugs, for houses, for everything. Because people can't afford things that cost a lot of money. And we already have the money printers going up. So costs are already going up. So they have to find a way to keep those costs down. Otherwise, people won't be able to afford it. So what do? They use the cheapest possible ingredients. And that has a big impact on our mental state and our I guess hormones in a way, right? It all ties together. And when you're using low quality ingredients, that has a whole impact on your psyche. Plus, you have the mainstream media, plus you have social media, plus you have bad lights that we've just found out too, that makes you a lot more susceptible to brainwashing. And then they just have constant attacks and constant distractions that just like everybody's going in different ways, which causes people to be mentally ill. So even with drugs, you find the cheapest ingredients, that's going to be like the really bad chemicals. And this is, probably a weird conversation. There's not a whole lot of Bitcoiners that talk about this. But yeah, it's really bad. And I agree. A lot of homelessness is caused by mental illness. Because when you're too, stress is a big part of it too. I could have a whole fucking show on this, and why fiat causes all of these problems. So let's get through a few of these comments, because this is an interesting topic to me. It's in my opinion the most important topic. Lewis says more desperate people at the bottom in a horrible fiat system. It's appalling to see. Oh man. Like I was driving home from the hospital last weekend in Winnipeg. And I pulled up at a stop sign, it was a stop sign. And I saw this big guy walking towards me. And he was wearing a gray hoodie, gray sweats, and gray underwear. And the reason I knew that he was wearing gray underwear is because his pants were down to his knees and he pissed himself. And I'm sorry if that word offends you, but whatever. He peed himself and he was walking around the streets. It was like -10, -15. He was so drunk and on so many drugs that he peed himself and he was just walking around. And you have to ask yourself why that would happen. And most people would just automatically go to like empathy, like, oh man, the poor guy, or they would laugh at him and make fun of him. But my brain goes to this system that they've created, the amount of money that they've added to the system has made people and more poor. It's separated. The people who are rich have gotten richer. The people who are poor have gotten poorer. And that middle class has shifted significantly downwards. And that's what happens when people have the ability to create money. That's the cost of inflation, is that it divides. It makes the poor people poorer. And when the poor people don't feel like they can get ahead no matter what they do, and they start going to alcohol and drugs, and it turns into a spiral of things get progressively worse. And then you find yourself walking down the street at midnight with your pants around your ankles because you peed yourself. And that's just like one example in one city at one moment. Like, this is normal for a lot of bigger cities. Every single day there's people like this. And it's not how it's supposed to be. It's by design. And the reason for it is because of inflation, because they print so much money and they steal from people like us. It's so sad. And if that doesn't make you want to push this thing forward as fast as we possibly fucking can, I don't know what could. And yeah, this is absolutely true, Daniel. People are mentally ill because they're bombarded by propaganda, eating bad food, taking bad drugs, and living under blue light. And oh man, that is so accurate. Living under blue light day and night because the money is broken. It's so sad. It's so sad. Lapad says, in Bitcoin, the price of good not only falls to the price of production, but the quality goes up to the wealth of the consumers. Yes. Yes. That's why we live good. Well, we're trying. We're trying. Rick says, so true. That's why almost everything is plastic now rather than glass. Microplastics get into our products. Yeah, because they need to make it cheap. Everything has to be cheap to keep the prices down. Right? BitBilly says, good for you, Lewis Payne. You inspired me. I'm on it. What did I miss there? What's BitBilly doing? Must have missed a couple comments. Oh, just bought some more Bitcoin. It's become my new good habit. All I do is buy, no matter what. Oh, shit. Be kind and charitable. Yes, that is absolutely true. Some people don't want help. I don't know if that's the truth. I think that people they don't know that a better world's possible. That's why. They don't know that a better world is possible. Anyways, let's get back to a couple comments here that I missed. If Bitcoin can somehow end homelessness, hunger, and wars, then Satoshi was definitely a time traveler. Satoshi was a time traveler. It is. You can call it whatever you want to. Some people think it's religious. I would agree with that. Biblical. I would agree with that. Yeah, and the other part too there, I think that the Bitcoin white paper, I know most people don't even know what it is. The majority of people have never even thought about it or could tell you what it. If you said the white paper to most people, they would look at you like you had two heads. But I think the Bitcoin white paper will be the eighth wonder of the world. I really do. And I think that Satoshi will be. I don't know if he'll be looked at in the same light as, man, we've gone down a weird road that I didn't really expect to today. That's that's what happens on the show here, though. I think that's why people show up. But yeah, the white paper, I think it's going to become the eighth wonder of the world. I don't even know where I was going with that now. Shit. Oh, that's why Satoshi. I don't know if Satoshi will be if we look out to 2,000 years from now. And you have to actually, I just want you to go through this with me here. Go through this thought experiment with me. So the thought experiment would be if you looked out 2,000 years from now, because we're living in the year 2025, so 2,000 years after death. That's kind of the time horizon that we're on right now. And throughout those 2,000 years, you have, and that's only 2,000 years out of hundreds of thousands of millions of years before that. But we've never had the ability to capture history. We've never had the ability to transport information and preserve information and knowledge into the future before Bitcoin. But now you can not only transact on the Bitcoin layer 1 network, but you can inscribe things into it. And so we can now record history, or whoever's perspective of history, whatever you want to call that, regardless if it's right or wrong, it cannot be changed. And if you don't understand that, I would encourage you to take a little bit more time and look into why that's possible with Bitcoin, why it's impossible to go back and change a transaction, and why it's impossible to go back and change and delete anything from the Bitcoin network, the time chain of Bitcoin. And that has, I would say that that's the biggest thing in the world right now that nobody is talking about. The fact that you cannot go back and change history. So whatever happens going forward now, there's no way for anybody to alter that. And the implications of that on a society are massive. So again, I don't know if Satoshi will be like the new Jesus Christ, but I do think that Michael Saylor said this. He said that there will come a day where everything before Bitcoin is considered to be bullshit. And I believe that. I really do. Because we can't go back and verify anything. We've heard stories, we've read books, we have history as we know it, as it's taught in schools, but we know that the history taught in schools is absolute bullshit. But now we have the ability to record history, and then that cannot be changed. And that is bigger than any of us even know at this point. So will Satoshi be the new Jesus Christ? Probably not. But I do think that like 2009, January 3rd, 2009 will be like the new before Christ and after death moment when we look back 2,000 years from now. I really believe that. And again, if you don't understand that, if you don't understand why Bitcoin is immutable, why you cannot change Bitcoin, I would encourage you to take a little bit of time and figure out why. And I'll give you a really quick reason for why that is. Because when something's added into a block, let's bring up the mempool here, and I'll do my best to explain what I mean here. Okay, so when you look at what happened there, when you look at one of these blocks here, so this, you can see this line here. So anytime you send a Bitcoin transaction, it goes into the mempool. It goes into the left side over here. Oh, you can't even see my mouse. These green ones over here. You can see that dotted line in the middle. When you send a Bitcoin transaction, it goes into the mempool there on the left side. And it'll sit there until one of the miners puts it into a block. So when that block is mined, when it goes from green into purple there, that block has been mined. So you can see that the last block that was mined was block 891936. So that basically means that since January 3rd, 2009, there's been 891,936 blocks mined. Each one of those blocks contains a bunch of transactions and a bunch of data. And every time that a new block is mined, the new copy of the Bitcoin time chain or the ledger, all of these transactions, the updated version gets broadcast to every single computer out there, 25,000 of them today, that are running a Bitcoin node. And Bitcoin nodes are basically just keeping a copy of all these transactions from January 3rd, 2009. So once that blockchain is updated and that's broadcast to all those different nodes around the world, you cannot change that, because you would have to go to every single one of those nodes if you wanted to erase something or change a transaction or anything. You'd have to go to every single one of those nodes and ask them to change that. And that would probably take you 3 years. And by that time, there will be tens of thousands of blocks, new blocks that have been mined. And then you'd have to go back and change all those ones again. So that's why any transactions, any information that's inscribed into Bitcoin cannot be changed. And that has a massive implications on history and knowledge and our society. So it's pretty cool. Again, I think that that's the most under talked about and underappreciated aspect of Bitcoin. Besides the fact that it's a better money, it's a better store of value. Nobody can change it. Nobody can control it. Nobody can print more of it. There's so many, very underappreciated aspects of Bitcoin, but the fact that you cannot change it and you cannot change history and anything that's inscribed into the Bitcoin blockchain is, to me, the biggest and most underappreciated aspect of it. I don't know. I don't know where to go from there. Should we shut her down? I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Buck52 says, Jorah, what is your speed address? I don't know. I think it's Bitcoin Journey. I'll put it in the chat there for you, just so you know. It's Bitcoin Journey at speed.app. Oh, by the way, on that note, in case there's anybody out there watching, I've put my on-chain address, my Bitcoin on-chain. I know that not everybody transacts in Lightning and knows how to use it. So I figured I would cater to anybody who wants to support the channel here, but doesn't use Lightning yet. So the offer that I want to make people is that if you are somebody who's still using on-chain only and you don't use Lightning yet, you can send a transaction to it's in my, actually it's probably not there right now, but it'll be in the show notes there for you. So if you want to support the channel and you don't want to use PayPal, you can use on-chain, the Bitcoin network. It'll be there forever, which is kind of cool. But the other thing too there is, if you are interested, I'm going to do a little private show or a little seminar or a webinar, whatever you want to call it, for anybody who's interested in learning about Lightning. So if you're somebody out there right now who only holds Bitcoin, whether it's like on an exchange or in like a phone wallet or whatever, and you don't know how to use Lightning, I'm going to do a little private show for anybody who wants to be there. So that's pretty much it. You don't have to send in a transaction to be qualified for that. That was kind of my idea there, but I want to make it available to anybody there. So if you are interested, I just added it to the show notes here if you want to donate in that way on chain. But you can also just shoot me an email. If you don't want to donate, you can just shoot me an email and say, I want to be included in the Lightning course. And it's not going to be anything crazy. I'm not going to get into the technical aspects of it. I'm just going to explain to you the difference between layer 1, layer 2, give you some wallets to download, give you some use cases for it, and why it's so important that everybody should have a Lightning wallet. So that should be in the show notes there now. I was going to put it in the chat here, but you won't be able to copy and paste it anyway, so that'd be useless. Dollar coffee, that's a hard one to say. Dollar coffee averaging. Okay, what do we got here? Chris. I have 1 billion buys on ShakePay. I ain't spending 2 months finding average cost. Let's remove capital gains now, or I'm moving to a country that removes them. This crap is forced hodling. Yes. Oh, that's such an important point. Truly. Because you think about that, Chris. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. I have no interest. I have zero interest in ever figuring out how much I paid for my Bitcoin. Zero. I don't want to say this because YouTube's listening, but there's no chance I do it. Ever. Don't care. If you, CRA, if you want to come after me and try to figure out how much I paid for all my Bitcoin and what my cost was when I spent it, good luck. Not going to fucking happen. But the other part of that too, to understand, is that if certain countries start removing capital gains tax on Bitcoin, and there's a bunch of Bitcoiners who don't want to pay tax on their Bitcoin gains, they're going to move to those countries. So that's going to incentivize countries to implement that capital gain tax removal. Otherwise, they're going to lose all of their wealth. Because imagine in 10 or 20 years from now, and you're right, and the forced hodling there, I'm going to hold on to my Bitcoin until that disappears, for sure. I'll probably hold on to it forever either way. But yeah, think about it at that point, because if Bitcoiners are going to be the people that are catered to. I know everybody likes to think that countries are going to attack them and steal their Bitcoin, which we might go through a brief phase of that, but it's not going to last very long, because Bitcoiners are going to be catered to. Countries are going to want you in their countries. Banks are going to want you at their banks because you hold Bitcoin. Businesses are going to want to do business with you because you hold Bitcoin. Employees are going to want to work for you because you have Bitcoin. Bitcoiners are going to be catered to. I know it's hard to understand that at this point, but it's the absolute truth. So the point here that I'm trying to make is, yes, if countries start taxing their citizens on their Bitcoin gains, those citizens are going to move, and they're going to take their capital with them. And because that's a possibility, every country is going to be incentivized to not do that, to not lose their citizens who own Bitcoin. And the other part of that too is that I actually think that it could work backwards, because here's the second part of that, is that because there's only so much Bitcoin, and as more and more people start to figure this out, they're going to try to come up with ways to extract that Bitcoin from the average person, the people like us who hold Bitcoin. And in my opinion, one of those incentives is going to be running up the price of Bitcoin, because you have to keep in mind here that this is a system and a network that they're totally unfamiliar with. The people who have controlled this world for so long, they're used to controlling the population, dividing the population, printing more money, making the people poorer, and basically saying, figure it out. But in this system, on a Bitcoin standard, they don't have the ability to print money anymore. So they're going to, because there's only so much Bitcoin to go around, they're going to have to find creative ways to extract it from people, because they can't print more of it. And they're going to realize that they need Bitcoin, not only for the wealth of their country, but as for their national defense, because of the encryption and because everything else is going to be able to be hacked aside from Bitcoin. So they're going to have to find creative ways to do it. I think one of them is going to be running up the price of Bitcoin, try to incentivize people to sell their Bitcoin. And to that, I would say, if you have to sell your Bitcoin, if you do want to sell a part of your Bitcoin, make sure that you sell to another Bitcoiner. Do not send it back to the exchanges, because that's what they want. Countries, strategy, BlackRock, they want you to sell your Bitcoin to the exchanges, because once they get it, you're never getting it back. The average person will never get that Bitcoin back. But the other thing I think that they're going to do is they're going to try to get rid of capital gains on Bitcoin. They're going to try to make themselves look like heroes, that they're doing the people a favor. But I think it's going to be incentive they're going to try to make people to sell now. Because just like Chris said here, taxing people on their Bitcoin is forcing them to hang on to it longer. And they're not going to want people to hold on to Bitcoin. They're going to want people to sell their Bitcoin to buy things, or in exchange for their fake, illusionary, printed out of thin air currency. So just be aware of those things. Number one is that absolutely going to happen. They're going to try to run up the price of Bitcoin, try to get you to sell it, because once you sell it, we're never going to get it back. So that's a great comment there, Chris, in a lot of ways. And sorry, I'm a million messages behind here. 1 million. Too many tangents today. I need to take a breath. Laughpad says, you're so ahead of your time, Jor. I don't know. I don't think I'm ahead of my time. I just think about this stuff. And I think one of the biggest problems in society is people are afraid to think. People aren't taught to think, but for a lot of people, it's very uncomfortable for them to go down some different roads. Okay, what else do we have here? BitBilly says, I'm about to be charitable. BitBilly, what you up to, man? We become the change we want to see. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Brendan says, why do you like GameStop? Thinking of buying for the TFSA. Yeah, I actually sold some of my strategy shares for GameStop. I think that short-term GameStop is going to be the one that runs, because it's just, everybody knows GameStop. And once those people figure out that the best thing that GameStop can do is add Bitcoin and buy Bitcoin, and what kind of implication that's going to have on their balance sheet and business overall, there's going to be a lot of interest in GameStop. And it's a cheaper share, which usually means that more people can buy it. So I think that GameStop is going to follow the exact same trajectory that strategy has over these last couple of years. I don't know that strategy is going to fizzle out. I just think it's going to be a slower grind upwards over the years. But my plan is to hold some GameStop for the next year or two, and then swap that back into strategy. It's not a long-term play for me, but it's a short one. I think there's going to be a lot of buzz around it. Jimmy says, amen about the fiat causing homelessness, mental illness. When your money is poisoned, you're forced to use the cheapest ingredients. Yes. Service methods just to stay afloat, to earn a poisonous money. Exactly. Bitcoin is beautiful. Great short film for anybody who has not seen it. I don't know if I've seen it or not. What's up, Zapstream? I see the numbers bumped up in there. I wonder if somebody shared it. Okay, let me check my... BitBilly says, that's a great comment, Jor. They don't know that a better world is possible. Yes, 100%. We should etch the white paper in stone. So I know what you're saying. I just don't think that would be very effective. I mean, if you want to preserve it, I think the main thing that we need to make sure that there's always a node running to make sure that we always have a copy of the Bitcoin time chain. To me, that's more important than the white paper. But there are actually already satellites, or at least one satellite, I think it's Blockstream that has it, a satellite that keeps a copy of the Bitcoin time chain, so that even if the entire Earth was wiped out, then we have much bigger problems and money. But still, it would be preserved because it's in space. Space is also another subject that I think we need to familiarize ourselves with over the next little while here. No dollar amount in exchange for Bitcoin is laughable. Keep stacking. You're already winning just by getting off zero. 100%. That's what my thumbnail was today. You don't need a lot, but you definitely need some. And I'll show a video here. I'll show a video here in a sec talking about that. Jimmy says, Satoshi is a time traveler in the sense that Bitcoin is truth, one-to-one, and truth echoes through time. Wow. That's a comment. That we got a couple really, really good comments here that I would, if YouTube allowed me to zap, I would zap those. This one and the one from Daniel here. I mean, there's been a lot of great comments so far, but these are the two that stood out for me. That's such a good way to think about it, Jimmy. Satoshi is a time traveler in the sense that Bitcoin is truth, one-to-one, and truth echoes through time. And Lou says, like the Declaration of Independence, Bitcoin Declaration of Financial Independence. Yes. Brent says, yo, Rajat's show last night with Brian Harrington was hilarious. A trip to the mental gym, but a good one. Well, I actually did. We did Maple Bitcoin with Rajat and Brian a couple weeks ago because Forrest was away, and Brian came on, and I think they got into a very similar argument between Bitcoin and real estate. So yeah, we have one available on Maple Bitcoin, but Rajat also shared one last night. Cruisin, bro, what about quantum computer versus Bitcoin? I'm worried about a lot of things ahead of quantum computing with Bitcoin. It might be a threat one day, but I think that it'll be taken care of long before then. We got a lot of really smart people working within Bitcoin. That was one of the things that really, not boost, but like pushed me further into Bitcoin sooner. Number one was like the quality of people. So every time I watched like a YouTube video between like a Bitcoiner and a shitcoiner, I could tell what kind of energy that they had and what their intentions were. And for me, Bitcoiners were about making real change and helping the world, whereas shitcoiners were more concerned with getting rich quickly. Bitcoin is a much longer term focus. Shitcoiners were a very short term focus, dumping on each other. There's nothing there. But anyways, the other part of that too was I saw how many very intelligent people were in Bitcoin. And a perfect example of this is the True North guys. Actually, the other night they had Jeff Park on. It's a Jeff Park or Jeff Parks, one of the two. But the level of intelligence of that guy is almost unheard of. If you listen to an hour or two conversation with somebody in Bitcoin versus an hour or two conversation from somebody who's in the fiat system, it is night and day. It is completely night and day. And so the best people, I shouldn't say the best people, the most intelligent people are in Bitcoin. And there's a big brain drain that's happening right now. There's a lot of people who used to work in fiat and prop that system up, who are now working in Bitcoin and coming over to Bitcoin. And not only is there a big economic drain, Bitcoin's price has gone up, yes, but fiat has gone down significantly. So there's an economic drain from fiat to Bitcoin, and there's also an intelligence or a brain drain from the people who used to support that fiat system and keep it up. They're now working in Bitcoin. And so that's why I have no doubt that oh, holy fucking shit. That's why I have no doubt that any situations, any problems that arise within Bitcoin, we have the right people working on this thing. We do. And that's why it's so important to understand yes, you're on Team Bitcoin. By holding Bitcoin, you're on Team Bitcoin. But understand what role you're playing here. Are you an advocate? Are you somebody who has a channel or a podcast or a blog or somebody in your community who is putting on local meetups? Are you an advocate? Or are you a supporter? Are you somebody who's supporting open source development, Bitcoin development, making sure that there's funding for people who are solving these problems like quantum computing? Are you a supporter? Are you a supporter of somebody who has an advocate, somebody who has a channel like this example right here? 122,195 sats. That is a supporter on the Team Bitcoin. That is the fattest zap in, I think, daily Bitcoin journey history. It's either 122 or 130. And I'm thinking both were from the same person. Maybe not. It was an anonymous zap. I didn't want to assume. But anyways, that's $100, which is irrelevant, but 122,195 sat zap. Either the first or second fattest zap in show history here. It says, great content and conviction like always, Jor. You are much appreciated. That's fucking awesome. That is fucking awesome. Pardon my language here. So hopefully nobody's listening to this in the car with kids right now. But wow. I need a minute after that one. I need a minute. Okay, good. I was correct to assume. So I got a text from a guy, and you probably know who it was. That's who I thought it was, but I didn't want to assume. But I just got a text from him, and it was, in fact, not anonymous. It was our good friend, Bitbelly, who is texting me now saying, I don't know why that says anon. What the hell's anon? So anon stands for anonymous. But it does show up as anon in here. It just says npub 2A. But anyways, you might not be logged into Zapstream, Bitbilly. But anyways, that is very, 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 very generous of you, my friend. I very much appreciate that. Okay, what am I doing here? What do I have going on? Okay, I have a meeting at 10, which is in 19 minutes from now. I've watched 0 minutes of the Masters today. I was cleaning up a fucking cat who fell into a mud pit today. And now we're, sorry, I just want to quickly check something here. Because, okay, so here's the Masters leaderboard. Oh, Sungjae. Sonny's making a charge. Look at that. I put some money on Sonny yesterday. It was a very long shot. I think he was at like +1 when I bet on him. Now he's -3 in fourth place. So Justin Rose as at the same, hasn't moved. Birdied one, but then bogeyed another. Oberg, my guy. Oberg's my replacement of Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is who got me into golf, but things aren't looking great for Tiger anymore. He tore his Achilles, couldn't play in the Masters this year. I think he's 50 years old, so his body's not capable of recovering as well as it could before. He might be older than 50. So Ludwig Oberg has been my new Tiger Woods. So he's sitting in second place. I also bet on him and Connors. So I bet on 3 of the top 5 right now. It's still very early in the Masters, but yeah, there's the leaderboard for today. Daniel Berger, what the hell are you doing on the leaderboard? Okay, got what I needed there. Got what we needed. Okay, let me do something here very quickly. Okay, let's get to some comments here. I got 17 minutes. I'd like to say that I'll spend a couple minutes for getting ready for it, but if I know me, I won't. So we don't leave any comments around here unturned. Hey, Nick, just got my bidax. Hell yeah. Nice work, my friend. You are contributing to the, we just talked about Team Bitcoin. You are a miner now. We had an advocate, supporter, a miner, a node runner. There are a bunch of different ways and a bunch of different roles within Team Bitcoin. And so you have to figure out which one you are and how you can do a little bit more to push this thing forward. I mean, we spent the whole show today. It's been 1 hour and 6 minutes so far talking about why Bitcoin is so important. So you have to take a good look in the mirror and say, what's my role on this team and how can I do it better? Honestly. And I know not everybody will, and that's fine. But if 10% do, if 5% do, I'm going to be putting out a video tomorrow talking about that, the psychology behind Bitcoin, the volatility, and just small incremental percentages over time, how much that's going to compound into more people using Bitcoin. Hey, we got another fat zap here. One of our favorite numbers. What? 8,888 sats. And it says a series of infinity symbols if you crane your neck. Laughpad said that. A series of infinity symbols if you crane your neck. Laughpad, for the dummies like me, can you explain that? I was going to call myself a dipshit, but I'm not a dipshit. I'm just a little bit slower sometimes. I don't know what it is. People, it was just, dipshit's a word that I use fairly regularly in my life, but for some reason, there's a lot of people, including Jerry from Jerry Loves Freedom, who just love that word. I get a kick out of it. Dipshit. We were doing a really fun segment on the show for a while called Dipshit of the Day. And people like that one. Okay. Jimmy says Bitcoin is a clock before it's a currency. Damn. That is true. That is true. Bitcoin is the new clock. The time chain. The time chain. Okay. Let me give you guys and girls some tips here for the day. So if you're going to be watching the Masters this weekend, this is not a paid sponsorship yet. I know that I said I would never get sponsors for the show, but if Bodog ever reached out to me, I would probably work with Bodog. Just for shits and gigs, because it has nothing to do with Bitcoin. There's no reason how I could go wrong with that. There's no way that they would want to control anything that I say. But I just shared the Bodog link there. And if you use that link and you deposit, you can actually deposit Bitcoin on Bodog. You can deposit Bitcoin and you can withdraw Bitcoin. So if you're watching the Masters this weekend and you want to put a little bit of skin in the game, you can very easily send some Bitcoin to Bodog. You're actually going to get a 100% match on your deposit. So if you deposited 100,000 sats, Bodog matches 100,000 sats into your account. So that's pretty cool. I mean, just that alone is pretty cool. You can spend the weekend with some skin in the game. But the other part of that too, and kind of my plan here, is that I'm going to take my initial deposit. Let's say it's 100,000 sats. I'm going to take my initial deposit. I'm going to gamble with that. And I'm going to leave half of it, the equivalent amount, and I'm going to withdraw it. No, I'm not going to withdraw it. You have to gamble it. So I'm going to bet on like a very low risk bet, and then I'm going to withdraw it. So I'm basically going to break even. And then anything I make on my bets is just going to be a bonus. Smart, right? So that's my plan there. And you can get up to $400, I believe, in matching bonuses. So I kind of fucked up because I only put 100. I didn't know that this matching thing was, I didn't think it was legitimate, but it was. I deposited 100,000 sats. They matched 100,000 sats in my account. So use that link and do some gambling. Gamble with a bit of your Bitcoin this weekend. I don't usually advocate for that, but it's Masters weekend. And when you have 100% matching deposit up to $400, it doesn't make sense not to, in my opinion. So make sure, for anybody out there who's interested, people are going to say, Jory, you're a dipshit for gambling with your Bitcoin. But yeah, I would be if I wasn't getting it back. Steven says, should you have a Lightning node to do transactions on layer 2? No, I wouldn't. And that's just from people I've talked to. I've never run a Lightning node myself, but from the people I've talked to, they said it's a nightmare and they've lost a bunch of sats. So you can use Lightning without having a node. It's not as not as sorry, I just saw a comment there. What the hell was I talking about? It's not as private. That's what I was trying to say. Sorry. I was laughing at this. New mic drop is just the end the stream button. I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to go on a huge rant, not even rant, just like something that I'm really confident in talking about, and then just cut it. Juan says, can I send you the dog of Bitcoin as a donation? I don't know what that means. Doge? Do I have a Doge address? Is that what you mean, Juan? I don't know. I mean, I would never say no to that. That's for sure. I don't have any Doge anymore. I made a lot of money off Doge before Elon was talking about it or went on SNL, and then I sold the majority of it, and then I still had some, but I cashed it all out recently. So I'm currently hold 0 Doge. Dogecoin. So if you're still here and you want to send a donation in Dogecoin, absolutely. Just let me know and I'll put my, oh, how does this work? Jor, I just sent you 15K of the dog on Bitcoin on chain. I hope gives you a good Satoshi value one day. Thank you for your work, man. Cool. Oh, ruins. I gotcha. I gotcha. The dog of Bitcoin, a meme. So how would I find that then? How do I access that? I've never used ruins before. One, I very much appreciate it, even though I'm not a huge fan of that kind of stuff. I appreciate it. I appreciate the thought. And if you don't mind, maybe just as best you can, kind of explain how to how I would even see that or access it. Okay, we got 9 minutes here, and we got a shitload of shit to get through here. We got a shitload of shit. Okay, a couple things. We got a fat zap to ARNIE'S wallet here of 2,188 sats. Thank you. That's a fat zap for sure. And Ian E, fat zap. Thank fuck it's Friday. 10,888 sats. Thank you, Ian. Ian's a very, very generous donor as well to the show here. I'm just going to check because I saw somebody. Oh, yeah, there it is right there. $1.52, 888 sats. Got it. Thank you. I buy and spend and repeat and don't care. 100%. That's the way you got to do it. You have to. We could create a new country without gains for Bitcoiners. Our IRS is the global ledger. Our IRS is the global ledger. Wow, that's a tough one to say. The burden of proof on cap gains is on you, though, and not the government. Either track or report it or grab your ankles. Whatever. I'm gonna outweight them. So charge me all you want, but I'll be laughing. I'll have the last laugh. Look at this. We got 888 sats. Still a fat zap? Yes, definitely is a fat zap. And I think it was Daniel here. It looks like. Yeah, Daniel. Sorry, Daniel. Said fat zap Friday, 888 sats. Looks small in comparison to BitBilly. Yeah, well, don't worry about that one. Citadels, yes, exactly. That's something that we need to start taking pretty seriously, I think. Okay, 7 minutes. TikTok. Would I build a Citadel, Jory? Yes, absolutely would. I could build a Citadel here. Actually, we got 20 acres and a golf course right across the road, and a lake, and a bunch of wildlife, and a very muddy dog, cat, and also a very muddy dog. But one was by choice and one was by threat, I think. We are all visionaries. That's absolutely true. If you're watching the show, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through all these. Okay, we're going to try. But if you're watching the show, and I was out walking yesterday with Arnie, and usually when you're walking or you're doing something, you're kind of caught up in your own thoughts and you're worrying about things in the future, whether that's a bill that's outstanding, whether that's something you haven't done yet that you need to do. You have all these different stresses, and the majority of those stresses are financial. Because again, like we've talked about the whole show today, inflation, the money printer, makes people poorer, makes people work harder for even less. But I was just like, you know what? I just need to smile. I don't need to worry about anything because I know where this is going. I know what I'm holding. And anything that I think is an issue or a significant problem right now isn't going to be in 5 years from now because of Bitcoin, because I hold Bitcoin. And so if you're watching the show, regardless of how much Bitcoin you have, you should just smile because you're going to live longer. You're going to be a better person for the people around you. You're going to have less stress. You're going to have more hair. You're going to have better sleeps. You're going to have better everything. Just understand what you're holding here in any amount and know that you're going to be better than 99% of people. Everybody's going to get better over time, but you're going to be it might not seem like that today. And that's why I think it's a very important reminder. And in our proof of work course, we actually talked about taking inventory of what you have financially. And that changes your perspective on everything, because even though we're Bitcoiners, a lot of people don't really see Bitcoin as like a part of their wealth for some reason. But it is the only wealth. And you might look at somebody with a fancy truck or a big house or lots of land, whatever that is. They're rich today, but they're not going to be. You're going to be rich in the future. That's going to be you. It just takes time to get there. So start living like that, start acting like that, start smiling more, and start being thankful that you are here at this time right now. Just smile. You own Bitcoin. You're a visionary. You're the future rich of this planet. And as long as you protect that Bitcoin, you don't have to worry about anything. Truly. Jimmy says, when you sacrifice the present for the future, it's paradoxically the best way to make the present better faster. Yes, 100%. Juan says, you must find a balance between living and enjoying now versus long-term stacking. Also accurate. Like, don't hoard your Bitcoin. Understand that if you have any amount of Bitcoin right now, your family is going to be taken care of forever. And you don't need to have 20 Bitcoin. You don't need to have 1 Bitcoin. You don't have to have half a Bitcoin. You just need to have some. And don't cause too much stress in your life worrying about, missing things just to hoard Bitcoin. You have to find that balance. Oh, hey Frank, good morning. Infinity divided by 21 million. Bit late, but here now. The funny thing is that I had about 10 different things I wanted to talk about today, and I talked about 0 of them. 0. So I guess we got some material for next week. Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. Tom's, thanks, Santino. In 5 months, I've surprised myself what I can live with and be happier. Yes, or live without, sorry. Rob says, been in Bitcoin since 2019. Over time, your diamond hands will catch falling knives. Keep stacking regardless. Great advice. Is there a rollover on Bodog? If there is a rollover requirement on Bodog, it is unlikely you will get your money back. I'm not sure what that means. It locks it. That's why I said you have to make a very low risk bet, right? Because it's even my account right now, it says that half it's withdrawable and half it's not withdrawable. So you do have to make a bet with it. So that's why you just make a low risk bet. And it's not a guarantee. That's what I forgot to mention there. It's not a guarantee. Hey, Joe, good morning. Good to see you, buddy. Had a good show today. Okay, we got some lightning stuff here. You put your on-chain address in the link. Access the wallet. It's like $20. Put your... okay. Juan, you might have to send me an email if you don't mind. I know it's what a shitty move, getting free stuff and then asking how to access that stuff. But I have no idea. I could probably figure it out though, but I appreciate it. So just to confirm, it's in the address that's in my show notes right now. I don't know. Nice hat. Thank you. It is a nice hat. Thank you for your service. Of course, we're all on the same journey here, my friends. Okay, I got 2 minutes. The final countdown is on. Clean your machine, leading us down an amazing path, Jor, and we have your back. Appreciate that. I'm just showing up. That's it. Tom says, Jor, my wife is listening. Should she move her 403 into Bitcoin? Say yes. Her name is Sheila. Sheila, you have to understand that the world is moving to a Bitcoin standard. There's been no official announcement. There probably never will be. The closest thing that we'll have is the most influential person on the planet speaking at the Bitcoin conference. He's been dropping hints. He's been doing every single thing that he can to let people know that we're moving into a Bitcoin standard and to get as much as you can before the US starts buying. We are moving here. Whether you understand it, whether you like it, Doesn't matter. It's happening. So everything else is going to lose and go down in comparison to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is, in my mind, the only thing that you need to hold. No real estate, no land. Well, land is a little bit different depending on how scarce it is. No gold, no stocks, no bonds, a little bit of cash, but mostly Bitcoin. Attach your cart to Bitcoin, and that's the best way to preserve your wealth by far. Everything else is going to melt. Everything else is going to melt. Rick says, more hair would be amazing. I'm a 0 now. I want the Jorah look. Well, it's the same old thing. It's got, the grass is always greener. It's a pain in the ass to wash. And, it takes longer to cut. The grass is always greener. Anyways, I got to go. I'm literally I have 0 minutes left here. So have an amazing Friday. Letha, thank you for the iconic zap. BitBilly, thank you for the biggest or second largest zap in history. And everybody else, sorry, I can't get to everybody here. Duncan, Clean Your Machine. I shouldn't be listing names here. Ian, Laughpad, Daniel. I think I got the most people here. Sorry. Thank you. I'm 1 minute late. Make sure you stop by for Maple Bitcoin today at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see you then. Even though we're late, we got to see Arnie here for a second. Oh, he's heading. Want to say bye to everybody? He's shy. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. You don't know how much you mean to me. Have a good Friday. See you at 2 p.m. Eastern time on Maple Bitcoin. Bye-bye.